Hi guys, this is my first post for the Let's Talk Soccer hashtag. I'm responding to a post by John Pranjic, or that Croatian guy if you know him by his Twitter handle, and he discussed roster familiarity and Spain, how in the past they'd used a roster, not just a starting 11, but a roster composed primarily of Barca and Madrid players. And this year they kind of got away from it, incorporated some guys from Chelsea, from Atletico Madrid, and they got smashed in the group stages. Um, he extrapolated that to the U.S. and asked whether ODP and youth national team coaches from Ohio and California, for instance, are looking for the same things in players. And the answer to that is undeniably no, they aren't. I agree with John's take on Spain. For example, looking at a player like Diego Costa, tearing up La Liga with Atletico Madrid, didn't really do much in the World Cup. Again, take Diego Costa, put him at Barca. Would he fit in with Xavi, with Iniesta, with Pedro? Would he fit into that style of play? Probably not. So that doesn't necessarily reflect too poorly on him as a player. He's just not suited to that style. You look at Atletico Madrid style. Do they play like Barca? Do they play like Real Madrid? Not really. They're doing different things with and without possession, different things in transition. So you can't really fault the individual players too much. It's more that lack of coherency, that lack of integration with the national team. That's really the duty of the national team coach. That's really Del Bosque's. That's really his job. And again, contrasting this with another team, with Germany, Joachim Löw has come out publicly several times saying he really identifies with Bayern's style of play. He really identifies with what Heinkes was doing, what Guardiola was doing as far as basing their play around possession of the ball, around retaining possession and attacking from extended spells of possession. He's also come out publicly several times and said that he wasn't going to pick Stephen Kiesling, a striker at Bayer Leverkusen, one of the top goal scorers in the Bundesliga for the last couple seasons, and he wasn't going to pick him in his squad because he was more suited to a counter-attacking style of play. And he wanted to base his German team around more the way that Bayern play, a more possession-based style. Again, let's compare this with Del Bosque, who's trying his best to integrate Diego Costa, despite the fact it doesn't look like it's working. Even in the pre-World Cup friendlies, it didn't look that good. Then you have Löw rejecting one of the top strikers in Germany because he wouldn't fit in. So again, really interesting to look at those two approaches. Again, extrapolating this to the U.S., do we have enough of a style of play to reject certain players that are quality players, but based on the fact they won't fit in, do we have that level of a philosophy, that level of identity with the playing style? I don't think so. And again, the way I look at it, is Klinsmann bringing that? Is he capable of bringing that? I don't see it too much. Let's compare that with Chile, for instance. 10, 15, 20 years ago, does Chile have a style? Do they have players that you watch play and you can instantly tell, oh, he's Chilean? Not exactly. Again, you bring in a master coach, though, like Bielsa, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and he brings that style. He inspires coaches like Sampaoli, who did similar things to Bielsa at Universidad de Chile, and then he comes into the national team. There's a clear continuance of philosophy. You know exactly what the Chilean style looks like. You know the types of center mids that they bring in. You know the types of attackers they bring in. You know what Sampaoli is probably looking for in center backs. So for me, for the U.S. to solve that problem of coaches in Ohio, coaches in California looking for the same things, to me, I see two routes. One of them was posited by Gary Claiborne of 343, that we need to bring in a master like Bielsa to come in and just shape the whole national team around a philosophy, around a coherent structure, to give us an identity, to give us a type of player to look for in each position. The other way that I see it, it's not exactly a shortcut, but the other route is doing what Spain did, what Germany did, and basing your national team around a club team or two, basing 7, 8, 9 positions in your starting lineup around players from Bayern, around players from Barca and Madrid, and then sprinkling in the gaps with a couple players from, for instance, with Spain, it was Villarreal and Valencia. At Bayern, there's some Dortmund players, a couple Real Madrid players. So are those realistic short, medium-term solutions for the U.S. right now? Again, like I said, I don't think Klinsmann is necessarily the master. I don't think he's necessarily the guy to come in and shape a whole national team around his style. So are there any MLS teams that we could import 7, 8, 9 guys from their lineup and put them into the men's national team right away? Again, I don't see it. First of all, there aren't very many MLS teams with a defined style that we could even attempt to emulate. Secondly, our professional clubs aren't producing 7, 8, 9 guys of national team quality to even integrate into the first team at all on the national team level. So again, I don't see a short or medium term solution for this sort of problem as far as building a national identity, as far as getting coaches on the same wavelength, looking for the same types of players. So let me know what you guys think, and let's talk soccer.